purple unicorns or the Gillette ad? What are we talking about? Stick around and see.
Toxic masculinity.
Hey, welcome back to Thinking Out Loud. I am Joel.
And I am Brad. Hello from Detroit.
Hello from Detroit. So, we could not, of course, let another video go by without talking about the talk of the town, which is the Gillette ad. Again, this is more for our purposes than wanting to tell you what to think of it. We're going to go through, we just think it's helpful for us to talk about it, and you get to listen in on that. Disclosure, Brad and I have not had any conversations with each other about this, so he and I both are going in cold. So, before we get to it, let's describe the Gillette ad for a minute. Do you want to do that?
I would love to,
Okay.
but first let's say we haven't discussed it, but we do both have beards. So, you know, that's meaningful.
Which means we don't shave.
Right. So, here's what the ad is. So, basically, Gillette ran an ad, really a whole campaign, which is playing off Gillette, the best a man can get. It's more of a Gillette, the best a man can be campaign, where it starts out and it really shows a number of clips of men correcting women. There's a shot where a man puts his hand on a woman's shoulder in a boardroom and saying what she really meant was. There's pictures of boys using physical violence.
Yeah, bullying and sexism and toxic masculinity, and they're like, for years we let this go, and then something changed, and the allusions to the Me Too movement.
Right.
And now there's a new era, and Gillette is using its platform to say, men can be better.
Right. Right. That's the essence of the ad. Talking about how men have been challenged for years, generations. Now we have this great a moment in time where things have gotten so bad that men are going to become better, right? And the men's going to improve.
And it's all for the sake of the next generation. And the commercial ad ends with several really great clips of young boys watching their fathers or uncles or older men, and then learning to behave. And it's very much like a break the cycle kind of message.
Yeah, and I think let's set the context with two quick things, and then we can get into our take on this. So first, context of the razor industry as a whole. Do you want to take that one, just the condition of the razor industry and where Gillette, owned by P&G, is?
Yeah, for sure. So big trends. Beards are okay again, and so men have freed the beard. And so men are shaving less, therefore men are using up razor blades less, number one. Number two, Gillette had I think it was like a 70% market share for years.
Right.
And it was, they were good razors, and people used them, and they used them regularly, and it was pretty inelastic in terms of its pricing. And so they could charge, and they could charge, and they can charge. They had enormous margins on their razors.
Right.
Then a couple years ago, Dollar Shave took the world by storm by saying, "Hey, this is crap." Harry's quickly followed, and then a couple other imitators. So one, the overall market has shrunk, and then two, Harry's first Dollar Shave, and then they've captured about 8% of the shaving market, and then Harry's has captured about 2% of that. But that's 8% and 2% of like a $3 billion space.
Right.
So
and Gillette is under 50% now, so they've gone from over 70 to below 50%.
Right. So Schick and some others have come on strong as well. So Gillette's they're seeing their profits shrink, and they've got to do something.
Right. They're backed into a corner.
They're backed in the corner. They have to do something, and the something that they chose to do was trod in whose footsteps?
Nike, which is the number two piece of context I want to share, right? So we're all familiar with the Me Too movement, everything that's happened. Nike has jumped into the deep end in terms of social issues as a company, which historically companies have shied away from. There's some exceptions, and obviously Pepsi and Kylie Jenner kind of sort of did it in a terrible way, which we're not going to talk about today, but Nike had done it, and I think Gillette, seeing, hey, we're in a desperate position here. Our market share continues to dwindle. The size of the market is going down.
And margins are shrinking.
This is really successful for Nike. Yep. So why don't we do it? And in some ways,
let's get woke.
What I like about it is they are trying to say, look, men, here's a better version of yourselves. So that's a piece of it that I like, which is for any marketer, the magic elixir is how can you inform consumers how your product is going to help your customers become a better version of themselves. That works. It's proven.
Great message.
Yep. Yes, and in some ways, Gillette did that, right? Would you agree with that piece?
I would say they tried to. I think, given where the conversation has gone, I would make the case that they did not do it effectively. I would say, look, the Nike in its Kaepernick commercial wasn't preachy.
Right.
And they were able to capitalize on a significant social trend without being preachy. It was believe in something even if it costs you, you everything. And even though on the surface that's an incredibly vapid statement, to your point that you made in the video, people can get that, and everyone's had something that they've believed in, and either they've done something about that belief or they've not. And people know that experience, and Nike tapped into a central human experience without, and what they weren't saying, yes, Kaepernick was there, so there's the subtext of kneeling and the flag and all that kind of thing, but they did not, they were able to invoke and I would say traffic on Kaepernick's credibility with the social justice crowd without being preachy at the same time, because it's like, look, agree or disagree, the guy took a stand and it cost them. And whether someone agrees or disagrees with the stand he took, good intention, well-meaning people can recognize the courage that it took to make a stand that costs you an NFL slot, something very, very few people ever get to do.
And it might be me having to talk to my boss, like, I'm going to take this stand, and I can relate to it. It might be me saying, like, that's it, I'm going to go out and I'm going to run in the winter because I want to be able to run that race. Whatever that moment is,
but
people can relate.
That will cost
that's
you
beautiful,
something.
and that's what Nike did with Kaepernick. But that's a long way from what Gillette did here.
It is, and I love the message of Gillette. We can be better, but the way that they did it, I understand. I don't think they were trying to. I think they tripped in it, and I think they, judging from the reaction, which is momentary. Nike had a terrible reaction as well. Like their earnings reports have been great. I don't think we're going to see this from P&G because I don't know. I'm not sure if they break out each brand and whether men's razors will be affected by this or not. But no, I think they failed to do it without coming across as preachy and condescending and putting all men in the same bucket. And even though they tried, they tried, like, some of us are already doing this, but not enough. And it's like, well, I'm the majority of people who aren't doing enough. I don't think that's what they were trying to do. I think they made it very easy for someone to level that criticism on them. I like what they're trying to do. I like the message. It's like, hey, men shouldn't be pigs. Absolutely. There's been a whole lot of sectors of society that have been saying men shouldn't be pigs for years. Right. And often lampooned as prudes for saying, like, no, Vegas is a really gross and disgusting place. Or, like, certain TV shows or certain magazine subscriptions aren't appropriate. And, like, that sector of society has been labeled prude. And I would say now, all of a sudden, like, maybe the broader society is waking up that it's like, it's really valuable for men to be moral people of character, and like that actually has a real benefit to society when men are moral and are full of integrity and have character. That matters. So, like, I mean, Gillette hasn't discovered anything that people haven't been saying for a really, really long time. But all right, we're a little bit off tack. The business case for it is obviously they're getting their ass kicked. They need to appeal to millennial customers. They're
who are really connected to social issues, and they want to see that connection between company and social issues. So that part is good. I mentioned earlier, I do like that Gillette tried to create a better version of their customers, But the way they did that was not aspirational. It was to beat men down. It was really saying, like, you are chauvinistic, you are self-centered, you are not willing to stick your neck out. And then saying, like, finally, like, let's be decent humans. And to me, that's not aspirational. It's decency. And as men, like, there's so much more that we can do than what was portrayed. And there's so many great things happening. And it feels like there was a huge opportunity here for Gillette. And Gillette actually did great things with Shaquem Griffin, who is an NFL star who has one hand. And they ran a campaign with him and the training and the connection between him, his brother, and his father, and overcoming adversity and the power of family that was implicit but not stated.
Beautiful.
And it builds up. And man, that was powerful. And I think there was an opportunity to just focus on the men doing great things, building people up, and then focus like, this is the best a man can get, and hammering that point home. And instead, they chose to kind of beat men down, and I think it was just a big miss. I have zero problem with them getting involved in a social campaign, but I just think that the way they did it was the wrong approach.
I would say, and I know this is going long, so we don't have time to create the campaign. Maybe this should be a separate video, but I would simply say Gillette had, like, the best a man can get. It was, in my opinion, as a consumer, as a one who shaves every now and again, it was actually true. Like, I have tried the other razors. They are not as good of a product, in my opinion, as Gillette. I've had the Mach 3 for years. That has been, like, that was my brand.
He's dating himself, people.
I am. It is my brand. And it, like, it legitimately is a better quality product than the others on the market. It lasts longer. It shaves better. They had a real opportunity to talk about their quality, and I think they could appeal to the millennials in the same way who care uniquely about quality. Millennials drink craft beer for a reason because they care about quality. They will have fewer things and higher quality things because they care about things like craftsmanship. There was a real, and they're rejecting, like, commoditized imported shit. Like, they want better quality crafted products.
Absolutely.
And there's a real opportunity that Gillette could have used to make its case for their to millennials, with and maybe even dabble into the social justice piece of it. That's fine. Like, again, I'm with you. I have no problem, because, like, yes, we should have better men. We should have better people.
Absolutely.
We should have a more just society. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that. But I'll be surprised if this works. I get what they're trying to do. They needed to do it. They should be doing it. I think the way that they missed an opportunity at maybe being a little bit less controversial, but not being quite so alienating to a lot of people. Now, changing habits are hard. Maybe people who are posting on Twitter that they're throwing their Gillette away, when it actually comes to the next time the store, they're probably just going to be like, oh, well, I haven't switched yet or whatever. Who knows? We'll see. They're taking a really, really big gamble. And it's a gamble I don't think they needed to take.
I agree. I think it's a miss. Huge opportunity with Shaquem Griffin to build on that. Would have loved to seen them work with influencers to see what are they doing to really make society better as men, and to really highlight some of the things that people are doing to try to be more aspirational with the brand. So anyways, we've talked about this a lot. Appreciate you tuning in. Would love to hear your thoughts and comments below. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by. So long from Detroit. Do we say that still?
Goodbye from Detroit.
Goodbye.
Sure.
Okay. So long and goodbye from Detroit.
Farewell from Detroit.